Hi, my name's Kyle, and I've written a language learning RPG called Magicians. The setting for this RPG is modern day, but I've taken a lot of the Korean modern day superstitions, mythology, legends, and incorporated them into the setting as well, like the Dokkaebi or the Hichi, the Bonghwang. A lot of these creatures are famous from Korean mythology and legend from a long time ago. And I've put these into the setting as well. And I've also incorporated superstitions like even ones that are still believed in Korea today, or not believed but are just followed, like whistling at night will bring ghosts and snakes, or if animals eat the clippings from your fingernails or your toes, they can turn into you or steal your soul. These ideas are all going to be incorporated into the setting as well. So basically just modern day, but set in Korea, and with that mystical fantasy twist, with all the superstitions actually becoming real, like basically belief in something making something real in the setting. In addition, the biggest, I guess you could say, selling point to the game is the language learning aspect of it. So in the game, all characters spend their time putting their characters into situations where their characters either fail or are compromised, or maybe they're emotionally traumatized or damaged in some way. Anyway, whenever players put their characters into difficult situations, they earn drama points, and these drama points are then used to cast spells. And to cast spells, you speak Korean. There are 3 difficulty levels, I guess you could say, to casting magic. The first one is archetypal, so you have to learn 11 words, nouns and verbs, and you can combine these, one noun and one verb, and it makes any spell you can think of. You can think of like an element, like water, fire, living things, etc., and combine that with a verb depending on what your intent is, what you want to do. Like hurting something or creating or whatever you want. The second system takes away the archetypal thought process. So instead of being limited to those 11 words, you have to think of your own noun and verb to make the spell, and it has to fit your intent and situation. So instead of just saying like fire and destroy for like a fireball or lighting something on fire, you would actually have to say like desk, and you would use the verb maybe to light a flame, something like that. The third system requires a complete sentence. So you have to learn target vocabulary depending on what your intent is as well. So in addition to making a full sentence, so you'd have to learn the grammar behind that, you'd also have to learn target vocabulary. So if I wanted to do a time spell, if I wanted to stop time, I would have to learn the target vocabulary to do that, which is numbers, in addition to the making a full sentence. So yeah, and I've done this for all these different kinds of magic, and depending on what you want to do. So yeah, that's basically what the game is about, putting your characters into difficult situations so that they can earn these points, which they then use to resolve conflicts and drama and confrontation by casting spells. And I also have a system in place for storytelling as well, so it's more of a collaborative process, and there's no prep. So, well, there's a little prep. In the beginning of the game, you get these cards, and every player writes something they'd like to see happen in that session on the card, after previously the players would have already talked about, like, for this session, this episode, if it's going to be a mystery or something like that, a murder mystery maybe, every player will get a certain amount of cards, and they can write elements on these cards that they want to see come into play, become part of the story on these cards. So it could be a monster, a villain, an object, a puzzle, whatever they want to see, a location perhaps. And all these elements are then combined, so all the cards are shuffled together kind of thing. And everyone sits in a circle, and for one turn you'll be either a player or a GM. And player turn it's your responsibility to put your character into situations and narrate scenes in which they're having a hard time, basically, in which they're confronted with a problem or emotionally traumatized in some way. Something that earns them drama or makes drama, hence you get the drama points, and then later in GM turns you actually use those points for resolving other conflicts or advancing the story in some way. So when it's a GM turn, they reference these cards. They draw one card, and that element is brought into play for that scene in some way. So everyone will contribute to the story, and since the GM turn changes each turn if you want it to, everyone will be contributing to the story, and there's a lot less preparation involved because you don't know what's going to happen next, and your idea of what's happening in the story is going to change each time because it's going to be a new GM for one, and it's going to be a new card, and it's going to change the story every time. So those are what I think really makes the game exciting, and if there's any more questions, feel free to let me know, and I hope you're excited about the game as I am. Thanks.